One take, one shot. This is the Smackdown review where I do it all in one take, one shot. However, I am going to edit some footage onto me speaking about Jade Cargill getting busted open, blood coming from Jade Cargill, and did that change everything? Did they call an audible and say, Tiffany, let Tiffany win? Because I rewatched the footage, and it looks like Jade might have been the one that was supposed to actually win. Let's talk about it in 1 second. This belt right here, let's talk about this first. I'm going to give this away at 20,000 subscribers. All you got to do to win is comment below, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell, ding, 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 notification. Trying to quit the day job. I'll give it away live on the stream. All right, so I won't edit my speech, but I will put footage as I talk. We have Jade Cargill at one point in this match. She's going to get pushed by Nia Jax into the steps. Now, I don't know if Nia pushed her too hard. I don't know if Jade Cargill tripped. I don't know if Jade, well, obviously Jade went in too hard, but I don't know whose fault this was. But no doubt in my mind, and you can see the footage that I'm going to put up here, she gets pushed in, and when she kind of turns on her back or whatever, there is blood coming from her. Now I think she will still do some moves with Nia Jax, but the next thing that happens, the next big sequence of events is basically, well, she will kind of show the camera that she's bleeding, and at that point I was like, put the belt on Jade. If she's bleeding, fights through the match, and then wins the title, I thought that would have been a Becky Lynch moment of her becoming the man when Nia punched her in the face and Becky had blood everywhere and still won. Although, I don't know if there was a concussion or anything. If there's a concussion, then obviously, no, Jade can't win. I wasn't sure at that moment. I thought that it might have been just a flesh wound, but it seems like it might have been more. So obviously, they would have to call an audible. And here's now where the audible part happens. So Jade does reveal that she's bleeding. The match does kind of sort of continue. Jade will give Nia her finisher, and then she will go to pin Nia. Nia will kick out, and Tiffany will do a drop kick. When the drop kick happens, Jade Cargill just completely rolls out of the ring. Now, if Jade's injured, yes, get out of the ring because, that's what you do. But now everything's in confusion state, and Tiffany goes for a pin, kind of stealing the pin from Jade. She goes for the pin, 1, 2, and the referee doesn't complete the pin. Nia doesn't kick out, and Tiffany is just left there holding Nia's leg, basically, and it's very awkward, and it's very evident that there's a botch. Now, I'm not here to call anybody out. I'm not here to say, oh, this sucks. Oh, my God, I can't believe it. Blah, blah, blah. A lot of people are going to be crashing out over this. And mistakes happen. But, it's hard for me. It's hard for me not to say that sometimes mistakes don't happen more often with certain people. And I've been defending everybody for a very long time. But I'm just going to call it as it is and not defend anybody here. I'm just going to say that when the referee, in the old days, the referee was supposed to just count 1, 2, 3, and they would be fined if they did not count. It was the referee's job to count, and it was the wrestlers' jobs to do what they were supposed to do. But I guess we no longer do that because the ref definitely did not count the 3. And so now we're in this confusion state, and Tiffany then will just get on the top rope and do her moonsault, the prettiest moonsault ever. 1, 2, 3, she wins. Stephanie Vaquer comes out, and they hold the titles up. I'm beginning to think, though, that it should have been Jade was supposed to win this because, as Donatello Leonardo, we talked about it, and then when I rewatched the footage, it's like, why would Nia kick out of Jade's finisher, right? But then not kick out of Tiffany immediately after. I'm thinking Jade was supposed to do something, maybe pull the referee out or break up the pin and then instantly get the pinfall victory on Tiffany Stratton. But they had to say, okay, Tiffany, she wins, blah, 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 let's hurry it up, let's do this. Stephanie was going to come out regardless and hold the title up. So Stephanie was already in place. All they had to do was get somebody with the visual pin. I think that's what happened. Now, if Jade was that injured that she couldn't like win the match, well then yeah, obviously that's what they should have done. It's just a crappy situation. It's just a crappy situation. I was really hoping that this was the time for Jade, and now it's like, again, this is not gonna help Nia's reputation, Jade's reputation of just being just botch masters, and it does really suck that it happened at the main event on a SmackDown. They're just never gonna live that down. They're never gonna live that down, and I'm always defending them. In fact, earlier in my stream, someone made a mistake in one of the matches, and I was just like, oh, but if that was Jade Cargill, we'd all be jumping down her throat about it. Or if that was Nia Jax, and then they have that botch, and it was evident. It's a shame. The match was good. Nia was the star of the match. She was doing a great job, and yet it's going to be overshadowed by this botch, and I don't know really what to say other than stuff happens and we just got to move on with our lives. But Tiffany Stratton, she wins, and we'll never know, I guess, until someone shows up on a podcast, on the Michelle McCool podcast with The Undertaker. Maybe then we'll know what was actually supposed to happen. But until then, this botch overshadows everything, because there was a couple other big things that happened on this SmackDown. I actually wanted to talk about Sami and Javon Evans. That was going to be my main focus tonight, but yeah, that is what I think everybody's going to really want to talk about. So we'll talk about Javon and Sami at the end, and I'm not happy about that match, even though I understand why they did it. I think it was a very much a missed opportunity, and I think they could have really just lit a fire on this SmackDown had they rearranged certain things and even the outcome. We'll talk that at the end, because we start off with Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman comes out and he's like, I don't know, for one, he talks a little bit of Brock Lesnar, and he's just kind of like talking, I don't know, not really in circles, but it seemed a little directionless, which is odd for Paul Heyman. And then Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes will come out, and he's going to say, am I talking to the Advocate? Am I talking to this guy, the Oracle? Am I talking to the Tribal Chief? Who am I talking to? And then we get, you're talking to the GOAT, Paul Heyman says. They go back and forth a little bit, nothing crazy, and then the Brawns suddenly get into the ring, and Cody's like, uh-oh, and Cody's like, I probably should back down, but I'm not gonna. He takes off his jacket, Braun Breaker, it's like, okay, let's go. Excuse me, one take, one shot, can't take that out. They start fighting, and Cody will start to get beat up, and then here comes Randy Orton. Randy Orton and Cody, they chase off the Brawns, and the weird thing about this is, while, yes, I wasn't looking forward to just another like Vision match, but we didn't get anything after this. There was no payoff to this. Maybe next week they have a match, and they probably will, or on maybe Raw, but like there was zero payoff. I remember thinking when we were at, like, when it was 10 minutes left of the show, I was like, wait a second, where was the Vision match with Cody and Randy? It never materialized. And they didn't announce it, but I just assumed. So it was just kind of weird. And then for Randy, it's just like, why is Randy is he Cody Rhodes' like keeper? Is he like, what is this? Is he his bodyguard? Why is Randy just coming out all the time? Can't Cody fight his own battles? I will say though, Randy stood up against Braun Breaker at one point, and I was like shocked with how big Randy is compared to Braun Breaker, because I always thought Braun Breaker was huge, but Randy towered over him and just looked way bigger. But that's besides the point. I just thought it was really, really weird that we had that happen. Randy came out to help Cody for no reason other than, their past friendships, and then the Brawns just leave. They're just like, okay, bye, see you later. Like, there was no payoff and no real conclusion to that. When Randy did pick up the belt and hand it to Cody, though, he did look at it. You know how Randy kind of like looks at that very longingly, like Golem looking at the ring, a little bit, and he hands it to Cody. That's what happened there. Melo don't Miz. They have a match with the Street Profits. Street Profits are like, we're on the same page. Fam fights, don't worry about us. But they weren't. They were on the same page. It was a decent match. Melo and Miz, they were also very much on the same page until the Miz tags himself in again, and Miz is going to go for the pin, but Melo's not going to have it. The moment Miz gets in, Melo grabs his shoulder and says, no, that's twice now. I want this. And the Street Profits will win because of this, because they'll knock Melo out of the floor. They get Miz, they do their move. As they're pinning him, Melo slides into the ring, but then he just stops. He just waits. He just watches, and boom, 1, 2, 3. So Melo could have definitely stopped the Miz from getting pinned, but he did. I think that's a good call. I kind of do wish this tag team would have lasted longer, but when The Miz left for American Gladiators, it kind of soured me because they never explained it proper. So I'm like, yeah, Melo, you don't need this. Just go off on your own. But now I will say, though, if he goes back to catering, because The Miz isn't at his side, I will hate that. Let's do something with this. Let's have them feud now. And get a couple matches out of it and have a storyline for Melo after this as well. And then the Wyatts. So the Wyatts are standing outside because this was a number 1 contender match. They're standing there and the Street Profits are there. It was kind of weird. They showed no... I'm not saying that the good guys have to be like super afraid of the Wyatts, but there was nothing. They even said they looked at him and then they just kept doing this. I thought that was not what should be being portrayed right now. Maybe the Street Profits could have just been like, side-eyed them and then walked away with their not turning their backs to them or something, because the Wyatts are supposed to be scary and creepy. I'm not saying go overboard with it, but they went underboard with their reaction. I think maybe the Profits didn't know that the camera had cut back to them, though, and that's why they were doing this. So it might have been just camera work. I don't know. But regardless, the Wyatts ended up looking like chumps because they just stood there while the other guys just kept doing their thing. We got Jade. She did an interview. She just doesn't come across as likable. She's very unlikable. We need to turn her heel real quick, and honestly, we can use what happened tonight, to turn her heel. Have her just blame the fans. She just says, I'm tired of you saying I botch everything. Because of you cost me. You got in my head. You cost me the match last week. I started bleeding because I was so worried of making a botch that I did botch. Why do I care about you? You're all fat, and just, she's a villain now because she's just not likable. Her promos are always the same. So just turn her heel. She's a natural heel. We have B-Fab and Meacham versus Julia and Kiana James. It was an alright match, but honestly, it's like 2 jobbers versus the U.S. champ who never gets airtime and another jobber, a manager. So I just didn't care about this match whatsoever. And it's like, it's not Julia's fault. It's none of their faults. But at the same time, it is what it is. Their booking has sucked and has made me have a feeling of not caring whatsoever about any of them. And so if you want to say that sucks on Triple H part, go for it. But I will say that this segment was it was dull. I didn't need it. It was boring even. Solo Sikoa. So last week, Solo Sikoa introduced the Tribal Chief Tonga Loa. And this week he introduces JC Mateo. Hate that name. It looks like that they're going to have that they're going to just introduce each guy every week. And so this week it was a little nice, though, because JC Mateo, hate the name, he is like an Olympic champion. Or is he an Olympic champion or a gold medalist for his territory? I'm not 100% sure. But he has accomplishments, lots of accomplishments, and they were able to bring it up. And that's good because, we need to see more of these guys. We need to see some development. Hopefully next week they'll do Talatonga, and after that, I'm really hoping, let's just do some backstage segments. I don't know why we don't do backstage segments. I guarantee you That's how the Bloodline got over. If they did that with my family tree, we would do it. Who knows? Maybe even JC Mateo with his stupid name has a personality, but we can't see it because we don't get these backstage segments. So do that, please. Looks like Sol Ruka and her tag team partner are going to be fighting Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. We need to see some. I don't know. It just seems like Alexa Bliss and Charlotte, that whole gimmick of not being friends or being a little awkward, it's starting to be not as endearing as it once was for me. I don't know if that's for everyone else, but I am glad that, I don't know, they just had a match. I guess they don't need one right away. Let's just see how it plays out. I'm just starting to get a little like, okay, you guys have been not friends for long enough. But it does seem like, I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know how I feel about it anymore, but whatever. Charlotte's still in a good place. Drew McIntyre comes out. He comes out with a boot and he starts complaining. He says, though, he's like, it's not the ref's fault. Even though it was the ref that stopped me and didn't pin, it's not the ref's fault. It's Cody's fault. Cody is like, he just runs this place. And it was all Cody's fault. The ref probably didn't want to lose his job. He has food. He needs to feed his family. And so Drew is blaming everything on Cody, crashing out. Nick Aldis comes out and is like, dude, shut up. You're better than this, Randy, or you're better than this, Drew. And Drew's like, no, this is all Cody's fault. Nick leaves, and then Jacob Fatu comes out. Jacob Fatu apparently doesn't care about the U.S. title anymore. He just goes up to Drew and says, shut up. Like, he doesn't spam his catchphrases until the end, so that was nice. I will say that it's nice to have a babyface that has attitude. But it was just weird. Why is Jacob coming at Drew? There's no reason whatsoever other than shut up, which I guess, but no, at the same time, he does attack him. He takes off his boot. He hits him with it. So this will be a good little feud going on, but I don't know. I just didn't like how it started. I wish Jacob Fatu, I don't know, why is he going after the U.S. title even? So we have this. We'll just wait to see. Damian Priest and his toxic masculinity goes after Kit in a wheelchair. Kit was able to stand up, but Damian Priest still attacked him, defending the patriarchy. Defending the patriarchy, and it's like, man, you just proved how toxic you were, Damian Priest. And then Damian Priest is like, I'm sorry. Then Aleister Black is like, hey, Damian. Damian turns around, kick to the face, and Black just is like, talks to him. He says, I'm going to show you. That's fine. I'm kind of liking this little cat and mouse, whatever they got going on, but we do need to see some more progression. And I want to see some more than just I attack you and then I cut a promo over your carcass. Let's see some stuff actually happening. And now we get to pretty much the final part of the show, because let's jump right to the Tiffany, Jade, and Nia match. I can't remember if I said this, but it was a really good match. I just want to throw that out there until the end, and the botches kind of overshadow everything. And I will also say that Nia was very much the star in that she was just really egging the crowd on, played a really good heel. And then we already talked about the botch. So now let's go to my favorite part of the night was Sami Zayn versus Javon Evans. They were in Orlando, so the Performance Center, I guess, is close by. And this was a banger of a match. I'm telling you. I don't know why they let Javon fight Sami. Sami is already starting to lose some fans here and there, and I think Javon Evans, he's such a natural babyface. Like, you're going to make us root against you, Sami, because Javon was all over the place tonight in a good way. He gets so freaking high. I know his gimmick is like he's bouncy or whatever, but he really is. He's like a human trampoline, where he did like 2 moves, 2 times. The crowd was just so into it. This, to me, was a very lackadaisical Smackdown until this matchup. And Javon Evans and Sami Zayn did have a good match as well. They played their parts very well. They were into it. I was into it. Very rarely nowadays does Triple H get me yelling and cheering someone on, and I was, because for a moment, even though I knew in my heart that Sami was going to win, for a moment I believed. I believed that Javon was going to win, and not just once, but twice. 2 times, I was like, do it! Pin him! Go for it! And then it didn't. And then Sami will win. It looks like Sami's move now is the haluva kick into the Blue Thunder Bomb. So if that continues to be the case, then I guess I take back what I said last week about how it was disrespectful to pin Carmelo with the Blue Thunder Bomb. But if next week he uses the haluva kick again to win, then it was disrespectful to both Javon and Carmelo. But if that's the new sequence, then fine, whatever. The Blue Thunder Bomb is now the finisher, it seems. But I just think they should have pulled the trigger. I'm just tired of Javon Evans getting so close to that championship. I know, it'll just make it sweeter when he actually wins it. There comes a point when it's like, I'm over it. Just either give him the title or don't. I'll move on. Oh, but he's super young. He's got plenty of opportunity. Okay, I hope you look forward to the next 20 years, Javon Evans, because it seems like you got to be 40 in order to win a title around these parts. But, man, I honestly think they should have opened the show, just a cold open in this match, Sami versus Javon, and then had Javon win. Like, have the same exact match, but when Javon gets his finisher in, have him win right there. I'm telling you, this would have been an all-time match. It was so freaking good. It would have been such out of nowhere. These are the kind of moments that we want. I was saying this in the live stream. Triple H wants to give us moments like John Cena turning heel when it doesn't really make sense and there's no story. It's like, wait, what? Yeah, it's a moment for like 60 seconds. But if Javon would have won this match, I'm telling you, that would have been a moment that lasted of all time. That would have been on highlight reels. That would have been on the best of SmackDown. That would have been on shocking title changes. It would have been on everybody's list for such a long time. This is the kind of moments that, that shocked us because of good wrestling and could have led to many storylines and built an instant star in Javon Evans. Could you imagine had Javon won and then Sami hands him the title and just raises his hand? That would have been so good. But nope. Sami Zayn, the gatekeeper of the mid card, his track record going strong. But man, I know. I understand why, though. I do understand from a story perspective, taking my heart out of it. Like, they've built Sami up so high, and they got a U.S. challenge going. Javon is a rookie that is still in NXT. I do understand. There's no plot holes, right? There's no plot holes in Javon Evans losing, so I'm not, crashing out. But at the same time, I think it would have just been so much better and so much more opportunity had Javon won and Sami was like, okay, you got it. Now, you could say, well, I don't want the U.S. title challenge to end so soon. Fine, then make it 3 weeks from now. You know what I'm saying? It would have just been so much better had Javon won. It would have been such a feel-good moment. But c'est la vie, said the old folks. Goes to show you never can tell. All right, boys. All right, girls. That was it. I only yawned 2 or 3 times. I wasn't really counting because I didn't think I was going to watch the whole episode. I was supposed to stream TNA tonight, but there were some technical issues, so I wasn't able to do it. So that said, I remember yawning 3 times, and then I don't think I really yawned that much more after that. That Javon-Sami Zayn match did really get me into SmackDown. So, commercials, I don't know, because I no longer live in the United States on Fridays. So, how many chops? This is a hard one. The Javon-Sami match was so freaking good, but I don't like the ending. The weird, Randy Orton coming to save Cody from the Bronze, and then nothing happening from that. The botch, while I'm not going to villainize the botch, I'm also going to say, well, it did happen, and that did diminish, that does overshadow the match. I'll just give it a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll give it a 5, a SmackDown a 5. Don't go out of your way to watch it. Go watch the Javon Evans-Sami match. That's about it. That's all you got to see. The triple threat, it gets overshadowed, unfortunately, by the botch. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not saying fire them, but I gotta tell you how I feel at the same time. So the Javon Sami match, that was the really good thing that we had here. So there you go, boys, girls, have yourselves a great day. Don't forget to go do hot takes, and I will see you, I guess, for hot takes tomorrow. See ya, bye.